Thomas with the 4 o'clock news on the street 919 FM and online Facebook and YouTube. In the headlines, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley tests positive for COVID-19 again. Double murder in Las Cuevas this morning, husband and wife killed, and internationally over 4,000 people infected with contaminated HIV blood to get compensation. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley tested positive for COVID-19 this morning. The Prime Minister, who is fully vaccinated and received 2 boosters, is said to be experiencing very mild symptoms. Dr. Rowley will remain in isolation in keeping with the current COVID-19 protocols. The Prime Minister has cancelled all of his engagements over the weekend. However, the Emancipation Function, called for today at the Diplomatic Centre, will be hosted by members of the Cabinet. In other news, a husband and wife were killed in Las Cuevas this morning. The incident, which is said to have stemmed out of a love affair gone sour, took place around at Rincon Road. The deceased have been identified as Hollis Valdez and Shireen Bailey Valdez. They were both asleep at the time when they were killed by the suspect, Franklin Clement. Clement subsequently shot himself dead. It's alleged that the husband and wife, who recently reconciled, was separated for a short period, and during that time the wife shared an open relationship with Clement, who stormed the couple's home and shot them dead before turning the gun on himself. And a 60-year-old Maloney man was killed last evening after gunmen shot at a group of people on Pelican Extension in Morvant. Clinton Kane was at Matthew Lane Pelican Extension around 6:25 when a white Nissan Wing Road stopped and the occupants started shooting at the group. The elderly man was later found dead on the ground. Police believe a Mova man who was liming with Kane and others was the intended target. 2 others, a 24-year-old of East Dry River and a 36-year-old from Pelican Extension, were also injured. The man police believe was the target, and he was unharmed, but his Porsche Cayenne was riddled with bullets. In an unrelated incident, 2 men were shot in El Socorro at about 8:45 p.m. last night. Police said the 2 men were liming on Sudas Straits when a car pulled up and those inside started shooting. A 21-year-old was shot in the chest and another man was shot in the back and both legs. Police said the 2 were in critical condition at hospital. Internationally, more than 4,000 surviving victims in the UK of the contaminated blood scandal are expected to receive provisional compensation of £100,000 each, a judge has said. The chairman of the Infected Blood Public Inquiry, Sir Brian Langstaff, said there was a compelling case to make the payments quickly. At least 2,400 people died after contracting HIV or hepatitis C through treatments in the 1970s and 80s. Currently, victims and families get an annual financial support payment but have not been compensated for loss of earnings, care costs and other lifetime losses. Groups representing victims say this recommendation is a major step forward towards an official admission of responsibility for what has been called the worst treatment disaster in the history of the UK's National Health Service. And that was the 4 o'clock news on the street 919 FM and online Facebook and YouTube. Recapping the headlines, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley tests positive for COVID-19 again. Double murder in Las Cuevas this morning, husband and wife killed, and internationally over 4,000 people infected with contaminated HIV blood to get compensation. Do enjoy your afternoon and continue to be safe. I am Vanessa Thomas.